I think one of the things for anyone that's going through treatment or a crisis when it comes to their health is, you know, when the matter of your health has been shaken and it shatters your world. And so actually, I'm sure that just to be able to get back on email, to get back to meetings, to have that connection with the real world, has been a source of great comfort for her. And, you know, we know that when you watch her doing her engagements, you watch her going and visiting her charities or her patronages, she's always smiling. You know, the wonderful thing about Catherine, and the reason she's always making the front pages, is because that smile lights up any room that she's in. And it's not forced and it's not fake or artificial. It's genuine and it's authentic because she takes great joy from the work that she does. So, and I think we've seen the same with the King. I mean, it's his birthday this weekend and he's let it be known that the greatest gift, because what do you buy the King who has everything, is actually being able to get back to work. They love what they do. They have this unique platform. They know they can make a difference and they take great joy in doing just that.
We had Remembrance Weekend where we saw the Princess of Wales on the Saturday and the Sunday, and we'll have the Carol concert. We've kind of been waiting all year for her to kind of come back to work because we're greedy and we want to see the Princess of Wales back.
Well, I think also we want to see that she's doing well. Yeah. I don't just think it's greedy. I think, you know, when you put it out to the public, it's like they want to see her. I mean, when you go back to those months where she was absent from public life, it felt very strange.
You could feel it, absolutely. And she's the superstar of the family, that's the truth.
She is. And, you know, when I think she's cherry-picked the engagements or the events where she has been publicly visible very carefully. The Trooping the Colour for the King's birthday, Wimbledon, which was just personal to her, Cenotaph, because that's so important, and the Christmas Carol concert. And it's almost like those events will punctuate this year in the hope that we'll kind of almost forget about how difficult the start of the year was when we didn't see her.
Well, let's say it's not quite Christmas yet and it's not quite New Year yet. We've got plenty of weeks, there's plenty of time to go. But I was in Cape Town with Prince William and we managed to get 8 or 9 minutes time to chat to him, put a few questions to Prince William. And it was, personally, I think it's one of the most revealing interviews that he'd given in such a long time. It wasn't recorded. It was, you know, it was to the written press. And I think he really kind of opened up and we'll talk about it in detail in a minute. But one of those parts was he said that they were planning some trips in the new year. So it is on a positive curve, isn't it, that next year the Princess of Wales and the Prince are looking forward to doing more events, possibly foreign trips.
Even the fact that he did seem to speak so much more candidly while he was in Cape Town, there are a few things that came out. Even that alone, to me, it indicated that they clearly have moved into a new phase now with Kate. He's not as guarded. He's able to speak a bit more freely. He just seemed quite relieved, to be honest. That was the mood that seemed to come through, which is, you know, wonderful news, obviously.
Yeah, well, it seemed like he was light-footed. He was. It seemed like the weight was off his shoulders. He seemed a lot more relaxed, a little bit more confident, and happy, which was good to see. And this is the important thing I think about this interview is that we said to him, we thought the King has spoken. You know, well, he's addressed the issue of his cancer. The Princess of Wales has done the 2 videos and addressed her cancer. The Queen Camilla has spoken about, you know, off-the-cuff remarks. We haven't really heard much from William. What do you think of his reaction when he said this? You know, he literally took a breath and said, honestly, when we said, you know, what is the, or when the pool said, what has it been like for you, sir? He took a breath and he said, honestly, it's been one of the worst years of my life. It's been brutal. It's been dreadful.
Yeah, well, I think it was very important that he did that. I mean, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about the royals and their relatability and their connectability. And I think that is so important. And they have connected to ordinary people on in a way that I don't think they ever have done. Yeah. And very sadly, it's been because of something like cancer, but it is a great leveler. And I think had he not spoken, this Prince of Wales who champions mental health and has spoken about the importance of mental health being as important as physical health, we'd be thinking, well, hang on a minute, you need to practice what you preach. I think he was very generous with his time. He was, I mean, you were on the ground, I wasn't, but, you know, he doesn't give those interviews very often. But I think if he was ever going to do it, this was the right time. And as we know with Prince William, nothing is ever done by accident. He obviously felt comfortable enough to do it. The Earthshot prize giving had been a great success. Africa is somewhere where he feels very at home. I mean, it's where he proposed to the then Kate Middleton. It's where he went after his mother died. He obviously feels, I think he feels quite a soul connection to Africa, and he obviously felt that this was a place where he could open up. And I think it's wonderful that he did because, you know, I've sat in this chair talking to you about this before, Matt, and I've thought about this a lot, that this young man has had to shoulder an enormous amount, not just the fear of losing his wife and the mother of his children, But the question mark over his father's health, and with that, perhaps his own proximity to the throne, these are huge things for him to have to deal with while propping up the royal family and letting everyone else think that everything's going to be okay.
That was one of the things that really struck me from it as well, is that when he said that in such an honest way, I thought the amount of times we've seen him out and about, smiling, getting on with it, giving polite, friendly answers to members of the public, as he should do, but throughout the whole year. And he was obviously going home to some really difficult times, and it really just made me think he's had a game face on all year. They all have. And it really was that reminder that they get on with it and they seem like they're doing all right when they're out and about. But he has been, after that brief break he had earlier in the year to support Kate when she was undergoing treatment, he's had to just go out and get on with it. And also, as you say, speaking of propping up the royal family, we are still relatively in the transitional phase from the late Queen to King Charles, really, where it's only been a couple of years. And so it is still that period of them establishing, you know, the monarchy and what it's going to look like. And with so much uncertainty around it with their health issues, that's a massive thing for him for the majority of the year.
I do. I get the sense, like stepping back as we are now, when you have these massive life-changing events in a year or in a couple of months, that does change your outlook on life. And I wonder if what we're getting now in the last couple of weeks and months is seeing that in William, that whatever has happened this week or what has happened this year with the cancer with his father and his wife has dramatically changed his outlook on life and changed the way that he wants to proceed as Prince of Wales.
Well, I think so. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking of the video that Kate allowed to go out, you know, with very intimate family moments, you know, behind closed doors at Anmar, which we've never seen. I think we are seeing a new level of transparency, not just in them sharing their cancer diagnosis and that we know the King's going through weekly treatment. I mean, you mentioned the late Queen. That would never have happened. We never got those sort of medical briefings. It was private, it was medical, and that was it. And I think it's important. I think they've got the tone right. I'll be very interested to see what the popularity polls are showing sort of towards the end of this year, early next year, compared to perhaps at the start of King Charles's reign. You're right, we are still in that transition period. I suspect the popularity for the royal family after this year will be at an all-time high.
Yes.
Ignoring the comments that we spoke about at the beginning, that's just a
But Matt,
minority.
I think that's the minority.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think you're right.
I think there's corners of the internet that will jump on that stuff always, but I think there's been such an outpouring of support and empathy for the royal family this year that we really haven't seen before.
I agree.
So you talk about the openness and transparency and the willingness to kind of talk about emotions. Is this what? Because also in his interview he spoke about royal family with a small r. What do you think that means?
I think that's all part of. When he was 18, I think it was when he was 18, he said he didn't want to be an ornamental royal.
Okay.
And I think this is all about William as Prince of Wales almost setting out the benchmark for what his reign will one day look like. And we don't know when that's going to be, but it's not going to be royal with a capital R. It's like he's not going to be political with a capital P. It's not downplaying it. This comes with huge respect for the institution and everything it stands for. I think it's just him wanting to do it his way. So rather than always being addressed as Sir, you know, perhaps first name terms, perhaps not always needing to wear a tie, perhaps actually rolling up the shirt sleeves. It's taking royalty to the next generation. That's my interpretation of it.